Good evening. After a two-day manhunt, two sleepless nights, law enforcement have apprehended Vance Bolter. That's 48 hours that law enforcement involved in a complex and dangerous manhunt.
Walz has taken Minnesota so far to the left, it's practically floating above Japan. Konnichiwa, Minneapolis. I hope you like teriyaki. I've been blasting Fox News for my Trump Cybertruck for 13 days straight, and I'm ready to explain Tim Walz.
Imagine turning on the TV to see a governor acting strong, but then he falls apart faster than a cookie in hot tea. Tim Walz thought he was ready for the big stage. But then Desi Lydic showed up, full of sass, and made him question all his life choices. There were tears, weird laughs, and the kind of embarrassment you can't unsee. This was politics, but funnier than a comedy show. And trust me, it only gets juicier from here.
We named her Hope. We named her Hope. I'm not crying. You're crying. This guy has made it clear how he stands. He's sitting down at Mar-a-Lago after he got elected president, and this was his exact quote. He's talking to a bunch of folks at Mar-a-Lago. You're rich as hell, and we're going to give you a tax cut. At the same time, he was telling workers they get paid too much already. That's who this guy is. You tell me who in Wisconsin is sitting around saying, damn, I wish they'd give billionaires tax cuts and screw me over.
Before we go on, smash that like button and subscribe, because you don't want to miss this one. Tim Walz thought it was just another easy political event. You know the type, some claps, fake smiles, and a handshake so stiff it looks like he's breaking walnuts. But instead, he walked right into a comedy crash, and Desi Lydic was driving the car.
This man is a Friday night liar. He said that he was a football coach, but he was actually the assistant football coach. Do you want to be these person?
What looked like a small joke at first quickly turned into a roast so harsh that Walz probably Googled later. Can you quit because of embarrassment? Picture him standing there, full of confidence, thinking nothing could touch him. That fake politician vibe, where they believe their words are untouchable.
But politicians need to stay out of students' bathrooms, unless they're checking middle school volleyball players for fake penises. He gave out free tampons. You're telling me he's not a communist? That is the definition of a...
Then Desi came in with sarcastic jokes that didn't just cut, they ripped off his whole mask. Soon, he was just standing there blinking, wondering why life was so unfair. She didn't just embarrass him. She burned him so badly, it was like his ego was taken away in front of everyone.
January 6th. It's time for January 6th parade. Giving tampons out in public schools. What's next? Free health care for children?
The best part about Desi's style is how easy she makes it look. She doesn't scream, doesn't get mean. She just throws around jokes like she's holding a lightsaber, and suddenly the politician's fake armor falls off. Walz was standing there pretending everything was fine while the alarms were going off, and Desi was roasting marshmallows over the flames.
This is not how a man. This is how a man. In conclusion, he is complete. Tiananmen, tantrum. Paragon Tim. Back off, Tim. I won't let you destroy the Minnesota that I know.
Every joke, every smirk, every perfectly timed punch chipped away at him until he looked like a broken robot. The funniest part? He wasn't ready for it at all. He thought he was safe from being teased, safe from being mocked. But nope. He tried to laugh it off, but it sounded like he was choking on regret. By the end, he wasn't fighting Desi anymore. He was fighting himself. The crowd made it worse. The laughter was loud, not at his jokes, but at him. The cheers weren't for him. They were for her. That's the worst thing for a politician, realizing the claps don't belong to you. Walz came in wanting respect, but he left with humiliation, served like a 5-course meal, with Desi as the chef. And those tears? Oh yes, we saw them. That wasn't inspiration. That was panic mixed with defeat.
Tragic what has happened to Milwaukee, Minnesota. And that's exactly what Tim Walz will do to Atlanta, Michigan, to Phoenix, South Dakota, and to the great capital of our nation. Yeah.
He looked like a kid caught lying about eating the last cookie, except this time, it was his dignity that was gone. Desi ripped away his fake confidence, and what was left was a man falling apart while the crowd laughed at him. Imagine being the leader of a state, but crumbling when someone makes a joke about you. That's what happened. Maybe this shows the truth. He's used to safe, staged events where nobody challenges him. But when real comedy hit, He shut down. Desi didn't just embarrass him, she exposed him. Without scripts, applause, and safety, he was just a guy standing there, lost. It wasn't just funny. It showed how fragile he really is. Some politicians are filled with hot air, and when the balloon pops, it's not pretty.
Who could possibly think it would be a good idea to lie about being in Tiananmen Square when you were in Nebraska? I mean, come on, it's just so beyond the pale. And now he's thinking about running for president? Didn't he get the memo that the American people do not want a second coming of Kamala Harris and Tim Walz? And Kamala is in California considering a run for governor. We do not want any more DEI, woke, any of that. We just don't. We're done with the woke and trans insanity.
And the wildest part? Desi didn't even break a sweat. She didn't scream, didn't rant. She just stayed cool and dropped lines sharper than any debate. She made it look easy while Walz was melting down in front of everyone. She kept the pressure on, circling him with jokes that hit harder than any political attack ever could. The crowd knew exactly what was happening. It was a live comedy takedown. Every laugh, every cheer, every gasp made Walz fall apart even more. He tried to think of a clever comeback, but nothing came out. The silence between his awkward laughs was painful, and Desi filled it with even more jokes, cutting him to pieces.
Got Tim Walz. Okay, Jen Psaki, she's a talking head, whatever. But Tim Walz was recently the vice presidential candidate on the Democratic ticket. Maybe you would expect a little better, a little higher in terms of the rhetoric. You would be disappointed.
Just saying. Just saying. There will be news sometime, just so you know. There will be news.
Look at him. So chipper. Don't worry, there will be news. In other words, Trump will die. Something to look forward to. The absolute nerve, especially with a president who was subjected to at least...
By the end of the night, it wasn't just his pride that was gone. His whole fake image was destroyed. He walked in as a politician and walked out as a joke. Desi turned him into a warning for every other politician who thinks they can handle comedy. Because here's the truth. You can out-argue, outspin, maybe even outlie someone, but you can't out-joke a real comedian. The second round of humiliation hit even harder. You know that look when someone realizes their life choices brought them to a total disaster? Yep, that was Walz. He tried to stand tall, but he looked like a man who just lost to a houseplant. The crowd smelled weakness, and nothing makes comedy stronger than that. His fake grin twisted into a grimace, and every awkward laugh made it worse. The harder he tried to look fine, the funnier it got. Soon, the crowd wasn't laughing with Desi anymore. They were laughing at Walz himself.
Bidenomics. Not only Biden, but Kamala Harris was heralding Bidenomics, pretending that there wasn't a problem at the border. And then fundamentally, this idea, President Biden was up for another 4 years of the job, while Americans in poll after poll for year after year were saying he's too old to do the job. Your party stood against all of those things.
Look, Joe Biden coming in and during COVID and being a governor through COVID did a hell of a job. And I think one of the things that we didn't do is we assumed that we said, and it was true, that we were going to have a soft landing and our economy was...
Meanwhile, Desi was glowing. She had full control of the room. Politicians rely on rehearsed power, but Desi's power came from pure comedy. Walz could barely think straight while she shredded his ego into tiny pieces. The more she joked, the clearer it became. He wasn't strong at all. He was just playing dress-up in authority, and she ripped it away with every sarcastic line. Then came the emotional crash. His voice cracked, not like a leader's, but like a teenager ordering food. He tried to escape, but it was too late. The audience saw the panic, and Desi slammed it open even wider with more jokes. She showed everyone the exact moment his confidence died. That was the knockout blow.
Yeah.
A teacher snatches a bully's ass up.
Yeah.
Come sit with me. That's what I know. Someone's bullying. Oh, you can sit with me for a while. And then I would lean on him. I'd bully him back. He's not a teacher. He's not a politician. He's a creepy guy who can't remember his speeches. I don't know what the hell was in the water in that White House, or was everyone on the same bad cocaine? But Kamala can't speak. He can't speak. Biden was so high he couldn't remember anything. Like, this is literally the dumbest administration of all time. Why is he talking?
It really is the ultimate clown show. And I said this in the pod. He's a clown without a...
Think about it. Walz probably practiced his lines in the mirror, gave himself a pep talk, told himself he'd own the stage. But what he didn't prepare for was being roasted to ashes by a comedian who could destroy him with one eyebrow raise. He thought he was the main star. But Desi made him the sidekick who doesn't realize he's the joke. He was the setup. She was the punchline. And everyone knew it. And then came the tears. Not dramatic movie tears, but worse, those glassy, almost tears where your voice wobbles. He tried to hide it as emotion, but nobody believed him. The crowd wasn't touched. They were laughing because Desi had just handed him his pride on a silver platter.
He believes a lot of wild things. One of them is transgender surgery for people who are under 13.
So for those out there who are wondering, aren't there something else you could be doing or doesn't seem to impact you in your life? This is what it means to show empathy. This is what it means to be welcoming.
He changed the Minnesota state flag to make it look like a Somali flag. You ever seen that?
But our current flag is problematic. I think we all know that. We've evolved into a more diverse state, and I think it's more reflective of.
And the funniest part? Desi wasn't being cruel. She was just being honest, brutally honest, but funny. She didn't yell, didn't attack. She just calmly pointed out the ridiculousness of his act. And that's what hurt the most. He knew it was true. By the time she was done, he wasn't even standing tall like a politician anymore. He was smaller, hunched, almost shrinking under the spotlight. The fake leader image was gone, replaced by a man barely holding onto dignity. His body was practically screaming, "Get me out of here." The audience loved it. They weren't just laughing, they were energized. Desi had shown the truth of politics with jokes so sharp they left scars.
China. He mini-mooned in Pyongyang to a destination wedding on the lesbian island from Wonder Woman. Forget the Bible, this guy's gonna be sworn in on a menu from Panda Express. Put down the chopsticks, Tim. In America, we eat noodles with a fork in one hand.
And once the crowd sided with her, Walz was finished. Every laugh at him was another nail in the coffin. Every cheer for Desi showed who was really in charge. Nobody remembered Walz's message. They remembered his meltdown. He tried to act like nothing happened, but public embarrassment sticks forever. Now, whenever he tries to act serious, people will remember the night Desi tore him apart with comedy. He'll never escape it. Comedy clings to politicians like gum on a shoe. By the end, he didn't even try anymore. The man who once walked in proud now looked lost, like he didn't belong there and just wanted to leave.
Out of bounds.
How soon was it after the election? Like
a week or two. When it wasn't at that point. I was just asking questions. Like it wasn't even. I was like, what happened to the $2.5 billion we raised? Why did we spend it on Beyonce? Why did we spend 2.5? Why did we spend millions of dollars on Oprah? Like legitimate questions that needed to be answered. But the amount of hate I got for that was just overwhelming. And the final straw, the moment that I knew that I needed to leave, was actually around Christmas Eve.
Every attempt to get control back only made it worse. He tried smiling, but his smile twitched like he was losing to his own reflection. Desi, though, was untouchable. She didn't need to yell or be mean. She just smirked and pointed out how fake he was, and the crowd took care of the rest. What was supposed to show leadership turned into a comedy class on how not to handle being roasted. His fake image was destroyed, and Desi didn't even break a sweat. The whole thing was perfect symbolism, a politician not destroyed by scandal or failure, but by comedy. By the end, Desi walked away with the crowd in her hand, while Walz stood there looking like a man who had his ego repossessed. He was totally crushed. And Desi Lydic? She didn't just win. She proved she's the undefeated queen of making weak politicians fall apart.